Alright, so in this review, I am going to share why I absolutely love Age of Empires 4. This has to be one of the best strategy games I've played probably in a long time. It is something that I have been absolutely addicted to. So far, as of this review, I'm level 89, right? I've played tons of matches, and I have enjoyed tons of matches. I'm going to, of course, share, right, why I love this game. There's certain things that I do hate about the game, certain things that frustrate me, but the game itself, I absolutely love. So first and foremost, there are a bunch of civs that you can play as in this game, in the base game. I will also make the mention that when you get the DLCs, the expansions, they add a lot of gameplay diversity, they add a lot of new options, new units to use, tons of new dynamics, really fun. I absolutely adore a lot of the civs that they added into the game, and I played a lot of them, right? I played the Japs, I played the Byzantines, I played the Holy, nope, not the Holy Roman Empire, the Order of the Dragon, right? John d'Arc, whatever the frick her name is, Joan, that biatch. I played French, I played Zushi's Legacy. Oh wait, French isn't a part of it. Zushi's Legacy though, I'm reading through the list here. The Ayyubids, and I think that's pretty much all of them. But I have enjoyed every single one that I've played, and you know, some more than others, but they all add tons of great new builds, tons of great units that you can use, build options, diversity. I love it. So one of the things to understand with this game, right, is that you will load in to a match, right? And when you load into that match, it's going to be pretty slow. You build up your little, you have a town center, you build up your little civ, whatever it is, build up houses, you build up mining camps, you build up lumber camps, the whole 9 yards. And then you also build up units. You can build walls, you can block off invaders and scouts, all that thing. And of course, those walls can be destroyed, especially if they're wooden walls. Infantry can destroy them, but you need artillery to destroy walls. I love the dynamics of the combat in this game. I love how there's so many counters, right? Archers, they take out infantry. Infantry typically, well, okay, actually specific units take out certain units more than others, right? But you got like most infantry mostly do well against horsemen, and horsemen largely do well against archers. Obviously, there's some archers like crossbowmen who will do better against horsemen or knights better than others, but that's the rough idea, and you'll get used to, right? As you're playing the game, you'll get used to which units are strong, which units are weak, which ones are good against which other units. I like the artillery gameplay, right? You can make trebuchets, they attack buildings. You can make springolds, they attack artillery units, and they work pretty well at their job, by the way. Everything in this game that's meant to counter each other are roughly very good at their job at countering. You can build battering rams, which happen to be good if you're trying to go with a certain strategy, right? That's typically good for storming against an enemy civilization's walls or their buildings, whatever it is, right? If you're trying to take out their entire empire, right, taking out their buildings, then it can be good for that too. There's just a bunch of great options. You can use keeps, right? They're an upgrade from outposts. Outposts are much weaker than keeps. They're usually used for vision, but keeps are cool. They're very expensive though, and they do get destroyed very quickly and easily. So that's kind of something to criticize, but it's a part of the game design, right? You have this defensive building, a keep, that can do a lot of damage to units if they're not prepared to fight you in that area. So it's a good defensive building placement, but it's just not all that strong, right? When you consider that you can just roll up like 3 cannons and a keep can go down in like 10 seconds or whatever. And for as expensive as it is, as much time as it takes to get the stone to build a keep, and as much stone is available that there is on the map, well, right, it gets pretty expensive to replace walls, to replace keeps. Regardless though, and they made a couple of nerfs as of the time of this recording. They made a couple of nerfs too to stone, so there's much less stone available on the map, so that's going to be even harder to deal with. But regardless, tons of fun. I love all the units. I love the freaking civs in this game. I love the gameplay interactions, right, of building up walls, building up these little buildings everywhere that's supposed to get you resources, or they have special effects, right? If you're right, when you're aging up, you're building these wonders, and they give you very specific bonuses to your specific civ. And you can build, you have 4 ages and you have 2 wonders, only one that you can select per age. It gives you a lot of build diversity. You can go different ways each game. You know, do you need a wonder that gives you more food? Do you need a wonder that gives you more gold? Do you need one that gives certain bonuses to your units? Whatever it is. And you can always go with just a certain strategy each game. There is so much replayability with this game. I would say, like, this is one of those games that's worth $70. I don't like games being $70, but when I look at a lot of modern games that are $70, they just don't have enough gameplay to justify it. They don't have enough content to justify it. The experience that you're getting, right? The content that they made and that the time that you're investing into the product is not worth what you're getting in return. This game gives you an experience. You could play this game legit 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours, and you will still feel like there's more to do, there's more to experience, there's more that you have not dipped into enough. I will tell you this right now. I believe it's hard to tell exactly how many hours you put into these games, but I would say, right, level 89, I've put at least 100 hours. I don't know if it's any more, but bro, I have no life certain civilizations, right? I just play that one the most out of anything during all the time that I have played this game. And there's certain civs that I've played a little bit, dipped my hand into it, but I still don't feel like I fully know them, and I've played this game a lot. So you can play this game for a long time, you can know life a certain civilization and just refuse to play the others, and you will always feel like there's just not enough that you've experienced with this game and that you haven't played enough of these civs. So that's a great sense of replayability, is the fact that there's just so much experimentation, and every match feels different, right? The way that people build walls is going to be different each match. The way that you have certain interactions, fighting over relics. Relics are these pickups that are randomly generated across the map. You pick them up with a monk, and then you bring them back over to a monastery, your religious site, whatever it is, and you can only store 3 of them in each religious site, so you have to build more religious sites, or, you know, monasteries, building placements, if you want to be able to store more. Those are a great way to build up passive income for gold, food, wood, and at one point stone, but then they nerfed it heavily, so only a little bit of stone now, but still, it gives you passive stone. It's not a lot, and they nerfed it huge. It used to be 30 stone, I think every 30 seconds or whatever. Now it's only 10. Oh, that's rough, but still, it is really great, fun to play. All the dynamics of trying to get those relics, right? Most players don't realize how important they are, so sometimes you can just literally just run across the map, hoard all of them. If you're playing against more experienced players, though, there's going to be a lot of freaking building walls around relics. There's going to be just so many dynamics of people fighting over resources on the map, fighting over stone nodes, gold nodes. It's just so fun. You can build these markets, right? And you have these traders that can go across the map between 2 different marketplaces, gaining you basically passive gold that way. Of course, it costs you a population unit, but still. And so that can be really fun, right? Like, you have to secure that trade line. That trade line can always be attacked and killed, and then you have to build up all those traders again, and that can then hurt your gold economy. You have all these dynamics, and it's across the entire map that you have these dynamics going on by trying to secure certain resources, certain income streams that you create during the match. You can build so many walls everywhere, right? And block off certain areas, and then that can be an area of contention for another player, so then you end up fighting in that region, that area, location, whatever. So much fun, so cool. I love the dynamics in this game. Every time you load it up, it's always a new experience. It's like playing chess, bro. Literally like playing chess. Every time it's a new player, it's a new experience of testing your skills and testing the competence of both yourself and the other player, especially with the specific civilizations that you're using. So there's proficiency with each civilization as well as you yourself as a player. Really great, tons to master with this game. It is one of the best strategy games, I just have to say, to play. Now, what's the issue with this game? There's a lot of issues with the matchmaking, with finding players. And this game's now much older. I think it's like, what, 3 years old now or whatever? It's been out for a long time. They've made a lot of good changes to improve a lot of things that used to be problems with this game. But there's kind of some days or certain weeks you're just not gonna have a lot of people to pick up the game with, right? So if you're getting into matchmaking and you want to play a 4v4, it's gonna be very difficult to find people. The people that you do get matched up with, because there's so few players, I believe you will get thrown into, and I've dealt with this, and this just ruins the game experience, because this game is a multiplayer game, and this fundamentally destroys how much you're going to enjoy and value Age of Empires 4. You will load into a lobby, 4v4, the most fun that there can be had, right? Most players competing against each other. It's always fun, a 4v4. It's part of the reason you pick up this game. 1v1s are just not as fun. 2v2s and even 3v3s are not as fun as 4v4s. It's the most chaos, the most conflict, the most competition, the most dynamics to have. You literally create a story every time you load into a lobby, right? You can have your civilization destroyed, but you can ferry off with the few remaining villagers you have into a corner of the map right behind one of your friendly player civilizations and come back into the game. And I've had some matches where you come back and you end up being the leading force against an enemy team that was originally beating the living crap out of you and your team, right? They killed your original starting location, your original starting civilization point. You go run off into a corner of the map, you rebuild, yeah, your teammates will suffer a little bit, but they hold out, and then you rebuild, and then you come back, and you can win the lobby. You can win the game. Now, it's very difficult, it doesn't always work. If the players on your team are skilled enough, though, right, you can pull it back. You can redeem yourself. It's amazing having those kinds of experiences. It feels so rewarding. It is some of the best, again, strategy game experiences that you can have. It's just so dynamic, so fluid. I love the way that it all interacts with each other. And for that one reason alone, you're just going to find a lot of reasons to want to keep on playing this game. But the issue is, they will throw you into a lobby where you have 3 players on your team. You're number 1, right? Me, level, let's say 70 before I was 89. But let's just say level 89 player. I get thrown into a lobby. They will literally put a level 10, 20, and maybe another level 15 into your team. These are guys who do not understand how to build walls. They don't understand how to build units. They don't understand how units counter each other. They don't even know how to make their economy work. And then guess who's on the enemy team? Maybe one level 30, higher level than everyone else on your team. And then there's a level 100, a level 300, and then another level 300. And I've had these lobbies, I've had these matches, and it's the most infuriating bullcrap because the matchmaker decided who wins and who loses. Obviously, my team gets railed, and then it just ends up being a 1v4 against dudes who I could go toe-to-toe with them individually, but not even 2 of them, right? They have enough player knowledge that it is impossible for a player like me, right? They have double the economy because 2 players, and they have double the player force, or rather, army force. They can build double the military of me. So it becomes impossible when you're in these lobbies, and the matchmaker for some reason just puts, and I've had lobbies where literally all the enemies are level 100 plus. And when I say that, I mean like some of those guys are level 200s and 300s, okay? Of the 4 players on the enemy team. And then my team only has like a level 30, 20, and maybe even a level 15. Those kind of gross inequalities in player skill will happen. It is the most frustrating experience because if you try to put that onto yourself, you're effectively wasting your time. You are wasting hours playing this game because you're playing matches. They were decided from the very start. It doesn't matter what you select. It doesn't matter what you do. You can never beat 4 players, right, that are equal to you yourself, right? But to only one person on your team equal to that person's skill, which would happen to be me in a lot of lobbies that I've played, where I am the only one that can actually contest these guys. So you will go through lobbies just getting stomped because the matchmaker's broken. It doesn't work. And or also the player base is broken. There's just not enough people playing the game anymore. So the solution that you could go with is going into custom lobbies. And now what's the issue with custom lobbies? Same problem still happens. You have people who are friends. You have these 2 guys who are level 200s, 300s, 100s. They have plenty of playtime and skill with the game. You will have these guys who literally just picked up the game. they're level 15, even level 5 or whatever, level maybe 30, or maybe if you're somewhat lucky, they're level 50, but even level 50s, even sometimes level 70s don't know what the frick they're doing. It's really weird. But regardless, you have these lower level players who don't know what they're doing. They're either new or they're just clueless. These guys will team up with each other in the custom lobby. You even try to tell them, do not team up. You guys outskill the rest of the players. You're literally going to, what is it, pub stomp them? You're going to literally destroy these freaking noobs. What are you doing? And then they, regardless of what you tell them, they do everything in their power because they think they're entitled to just team up with each other, and then they stomp everybody. Because why? Because no one else is that skill. Everyone else is a noob. And then you got a player like me. I could go against them if I had a teammate that was equal to my skill. What's the problem though? Of course, typically what happens to a player like me is that for whatever unlucky reason, I try to do my best not to get into these situations, but these things have a way of just working out against you. I'll end up on a team with like a level literal 30 or something. And then that guy gets blasted out of the game since like minute 5, right? And these guys just immediately start chewing up all the other empires, grabbing up their resources, grabbing up their land, and they just start to snowball the entire map. And that's one of the issues, is that when you start up these custom lobbies can be a temporary fix to the matchmaker being a problem, but you have to be a freaking dictator if you are actually going to have a functioning lobby where the players are mostly equal to each other's skill. And it's very difficult to do it. It's very difficult to read player rank in this game. Even if you know how to, like I do, it's still a ballpark estimate. And that's not going to really fix the issue for you either. But regardless, people don't listen to you. People don't get into the teams that they're supposed to be getting into to make it a fair fight, right? To make it an actually quality match. So you end up playing in custom lobbies. Here and there, you'll play good matches, and here and there, you'll play matches where what? It is grossly unfair and unequal, the player skills within these lobbies. So that's the biggest issue with this game, is that it's fundamentally a multiplayer game, but getting a good quality multiplayer lobby is beyond difficult. You have to be a dictator, and you have to become an event coordinator if you actually want to make it work, which is just, who wants to turn playing a video game into a freaking job? And that's the issue right there. Playing this game will eventually become like a job. If you want to have quality experiences, you don't want to be wasting your time and playing lobbies that are predetermined. And players want to go out of their way and have the most unfair advantage, right? They want to have the play experience of just stomping all over noobs. Let's just be clear about that. That's what they want. And that's what they will have. And some of them are even such douche nozzles enough that they'll sit there and they will goad and mock over you for having won a game that was directly in their hands from the start. So you get all kinds of snootiness, you get all kinds of douchebagginess with this game that will also increase your level of suffering while you're playing. And for that reason, I have to say, right, like that's a huge detraction from the game. And that's what will make you hate it over time. That's what will make you frustrated over time. And that's what will ultimately embitter you about the experience. So even though you want to love the game, even though you do enjoy the game, even though you're like, wow, there's so much to do here, so much fun, so much gameplay, diversity, and I love challenging myself, match in and match out, eventually you'll just get into lobbies that are so grossly unfair, anti-competitive, bad sportsmanship. That's not as big of an issue, but right, the bad sportsmanship doesn't matter so much. It's just that when you're dealing with this over and over and over again, right, you're dealing with enough bad lobbies, and then there's bad sportsmanship to sometimes be sprinkled out through in there, then eventually you just get so freaking bitter and you get so freaking fed up that you're like, I just can't play this game anymore, and you'll just rage quit. So I have to be truthful about that. That's the major detraction of this game. If you can find a way to event coordinate though your game time experience with Age of Empires 4, then this game is so great, so good to play. Seriously, it's one of my most beloved strategy games that I've played, especially recently. I would argue that pretty much my favorite strategy games within recent memory: Age of Wonders 4 and Planetfall, Halo Wars 2, and Stellaris. Those are my other favorite strategy games. that I have spent tons of time in just because I just love the experience. Anywho though, that's pretty much this game. The DLCs are worth it. They had a lot of content in. I think the DLCs are what? They're $15 or $25. For the price tag, it is so well worth it, man. You get extra content, so much more to play. These new civs with new units, new dynamics, new ways to just utilize the civilizations in the game that just, it'll add that much more playtime. It'll add that much more fun. And again, if you can find a way to event coordinate lobbies, this game has so much replayability, it's insane. It is worth your dollar, it is worth your time, man. Just be careful not to play this game too much. That is a huge issue, right? You don't want to get to a point of diminishing returns. If you're looking for a quality strategy game to pick up, and especially if you have friends, right? I hate this lazy excuse. Oh, the game's fun with friends. Oh, there are tons of games that, well, listen, a game cannot just be fun with friends, right? Because ultimately what it is that your friends are fun to hang out with, not the game, and you're using a game as an excuse to have fun with friends. No, you want to, whenever you say a game is fun with friends, it needs to be that your friends are fun, right? And we know that. There's plenty of crappy games. People will say the game's fun with friends. Well, yeah, if you don't have crappy friends that you enjoy being around, yeah, of course it's going to be fun because your friends are fun to be around. You want a game that's fun and it maximizes the fun that you can have with friends. Bro, if you have a group of friends, imagine you and 7 other of your buddies, you load into this lobby and you're all hurling insults at each other. You're all having a crazy time, right? You're all building up. You will have some of the best like hour to 2 hour experiences having these crazy lobby kind of journeys, kind of stories where, you know, you're backstabbing a friend. Well, not exactly, you know, your friend's an enemy player, but right, you're backstabbing him because he's fighting one of your other friends, and you're right, you can have all these fun interactions. Now, and imagine a free-for-all too. Holy crap, that could get insane. But if you have a good group of friends to play this game with, and you can reliably, and everything I'm detailing to you right now doesn't really fit for most players. I'm just saying, if you're one of those people, then this game, man, but it doesn't matter, right? Even if you don't have 7 friends, just playing this game with friends is tons of fun. Whether they're on your team or against you, right? You can have tons of fun with this game, tons of replayability. It is really a great experience. And this is one of those games that merits saying it's fun with friends. Why? Because it's a fun game and it's worthy of your time to play with a friend. When you play this game with a friend, it maximizes the value of both being around your friend and playing a video game, rather than just one of those categories, right? You don't want to play a game, but it sucks to be around your friend. But you also don't want to have fun, having a blast, hanging out with a friend, but you're loathing the game. Well, that's not fun, right? You want to have a confluence of these two things. Age of Empires 4 delivers exactly every layer and level of fun. Even with the things that detract from it, the base game, if you can get the base game to work out for you, this game is absolutely well worth the time.